Morning. Yes, I am still alive and I do apologise. The videos have been lacking a little bit, but I did actually film earlier in the week. But when I was editing those videos, I just was not happy with how the videos were and just how they were coming out, I guess. So I'm going to film today. Today is a high day for me, so I've been on the lower side of calories this week. So we're feeling very depleted. So we are now, today, the high day will be 4,300 with a 725 carb up. So I tell you what, I am very, very excited for that. So I'll take you through a high day and what I usually eat with the high day. I've been looking very forward to it all this week, but it is check-in day. We will go out and get some steps. The weather's pretty miserable, but I think we can probably do a couple laps just until it gets a little bit brighter for the check-in photos, and do the check-in, have a coffee or two, and then I'll start off with breakfast, which is very exciting, but I'll run through all that once I make it, eat it, and all that good stuff. But to start off with, we'll get some fasted steps, and then we'll do a check-in, and we'll go from there. But I do have a couple updates and some news that was given to me this week that I will fill you all in on. But firstly, we'll chuck the shoes on and get some steps. Very miserable day today, especially with it being a positive day for me, being a high calorie day and a high carb day. But we won't let that ruin any of this. So midweek, we got a little bit of a curveball thrown at me and Bridie. So I had a message from my coach, and it was a little loom, which is not usually like him. So my initial thoughts was, oh fuck, what have I done wrong? I've done something wrong. So I ended up opening it, watching it, and the federation I'm competing with, the IFBB, they have gone and double booked their venue for the state show, which was on the 12th of September. So with it being double booked, they've had to push it a week forward now, and it is now on the 6th of September. Makes me 3 weeks out now, not 4. So that sort of threw a spanner in the works of things, and obviously what we've been doing. Luckily, we are already in a position where that didn't affect me in any way. You know, we've been holding a certain amount of condition for the past couple of weeks, and we've been put in a position now where, you know, that only means that we're just a little bit closer to the comp, and, you know, we're not having to make any big manipulations in any areas that we're doing and what we're doing. So for some people, you know, Bridie, for example, she's now had to make manipulations with her coach, and that's just put a abundance of stress on her and what she's been doing. So, you know, I think it is a bit of an inconvenience in that sense. You know, people are training and working towards a certain date in these preps, and to be told out of nowhere, well, to be told 4 weeks out from the comp, you're now 3 weeks out, I think throws a massive amount of stress at them. So definitely not ideal, and I do feel for those people, of course. Not saying that, it wasn't stressful hearing that news, I did put in time for work and to have it off and everything, and I've had to change those dates, and thankfully they didn't change the national show. So that was the big one, and that was the one that me and Priority obviously have put in time off for our work, and we legit did just pay for all the accommodation and all the flights and hire cars and etc. So I think it would have been a lot worse if they cancelled that show out of that in the state, but thankfully they didn't touch that show. So we had that sort of in our favour, but still very fucking irritating, I think. Just the fact that they've had this booked in for a very long time, and all of a sudden they just realise now that they've double booked the venue. So look, it is what it is. I do feel for those people's families that took the time off work to go watch their kid, to then now perhaps not being able to go watch their kid, and it's fallen on a Sunday, which will make that Father's Day. So another big inconvenience in that sense as well. But it like I said, it is what it is. It's out of our control. At least we know now, and whatever needs to be done. But that was a little curveball thrown at us midweek. But we just keep rolling on through as per and get this comp done. So we're now another week closer, which is exciting. I'm very excited. But in a good sense too, that gives us an extra week to get ready for the Nationals. And then once the Nationals is done, we head off to Korea. It's like, as I touched on a little bit earlier, I have been on a depletion week. So we've been on lower calories, and we are now today being given a high day, which I have been looking very forward to. But the way I've taken this week is in a very positive mindset. Any person's natural instincts to seeing their food get dropped to the lowest, because this has been the lowest I would have ever been on in this whole prep, even starting with Taylor. I don't think I was ever on calories this low. My maintenance is in the mid to high 3,000s. So to be thrown at 2,700 is very low for me. So any natural instinct would be, he's dropped the food, I'm going to feel like shit, I'm going to have shit, so I'm going to this, I'm going to that. But the way I sort of looked at it was, I've been feeling this way the past 20-something weeks. Don't get me wrong, you have your days where you're good and you're bad, but hunger's always going to be prevalent for me, no matter how much food I'm given at the moment, or no matter what the circumstance is. I'm always going to be hungry. I'm going to feel fatigue all the time, like I have been. I'm going to have sleepless nights. It's just prep. What's this week so much more different to the past couple weeks, all apart, last month or 2 months. So I went into this week with a positive mindset of, if this is how we're going to go through with it, let's do it. You know, we're not too far. You know, challenge me for these last 3 weeks. You know, challenge me. You know, I went in with a very positive mindset, and I've come out with a very positive mindset. Yes, I'm feeling a lot more fatigued and depleted towards the back end of the week, but I'm still feeling very positive with everything that's going on. You know, I was super excited to see how the physique was going to look by the end of the week. And, you know, we did midweek check-ins, obviously after hearing all the news. We done the midweek check-in, and Taylor's extremely happy with how we're looking and how far down and depleted the body did get, that we don't need to make any further manipulations in regards to the comps being pushed a week forward. So it's good. Everything's working and responding how we want it to, and any manipulation that's always thrown in place, my body just finds that reaction to it and acts on it, you know. So I've got a very responsive body by the looks of it, and you know, it's exciting. I like seeing it, so I'm very excited to see what it's like after this high day. And it's just started to fucking rain too. Lovely. Very happy and excited to see what it's going to look like after this high day, and a little bit of carbs thrown into the system, and it's extremely exciting, and I'm hungry thinking about it, but I'm okay. I'm not too bad. I think it could be definitely a lot worse, but I think I might have to double back around now, because it started to rain, and I can't afford to get sick. So we will do just that. But I think I will do this. I think it might be enough light in the back room to do my check-in. Do that, send it on through, and we will then have breakfast and see how we go. But I will meet yous at the table, and I'll give you a little run through. There's not many changes in the foods. Just a few quantities have been bumped up, and there is a few food changes in there. But I will run through it when we're there. But we will get out of this fucking rain and go from there. Breakfast is now being served. So what we have today is 150 of chicken breast, 165 egg white, 100 sourdough, 25 spinach, 100 beetroot, and 35 avo. So the only difference with this one is, instead of the 150 mince, it's been put to 150 chicken breast, which is very exciting, and I'm actually really keen to have this. I'm a big advocate for a chicken sandwich, or a chicken burger, you'd say. So I am very overwhelmed with all this. And on that note, I did want to mention, any person or anyone that's in a deficit or a competition prep, I did want to point out, it is very, as I said, very overwhelming and very exciting when you do get a high day after being on consecutive depletion days or weeks or whatever. It is so important to stick to exactly what you've been given to have. You know, you see all this food, you see the quantities of it all. It would be so easy to go, oh, I'll add a little bit more of that, or I'll add a little bit more of this. Just don't do it. You're doing it to yourself at the end of the day. You then have that guilt that you went over a little bit more, and coaches know, you know, like they're not dumb. It's their job. They have so many athletes. They know all this. Save yourself that guilt or feeling any repercussions of anything. Just stick to exactly what they've given you, exactly what you've been told, exactly to the gram. This is probably the most important time because in a way they're giving you a depletion week, for example. Now they've given you a high day. This could be the action that they want to take in peak week. So it is so important to just stick to exactly what you've been given. And yes, it can be tempting. For me, it's not. I'm very disciplined. Whatever I've been told to have, I have. But for some people, there could be temptations with adding, you know, more condiments than what they usually add, or, you know, going, oh, I'll add a little bit more of this, it will be okay. No, it all adds up at the end of the day. So just stick to what you've been given to have and go run with that. You know, it's just so much easier. And as I've said, you don't feel that guilt by the end of it because you've went over by a little bit too much, or you feel the repercussions of doing something you're not meant to do. So this is going to be very enjoyable. I'm going to try and eat it as slow as I can, and then probably not too long after that I'll get into the pre-workout meal, and then I'll go train. I won't film my session just because I'm sick of getting copyrights, and it's just a bit of mayhem at the start, but I'll probably catch you all at the pre-workout. I've been looking very forward to this, as I'll probably say in every meal that I do have. But we do have cream of rice. Just got this out of the air fryer, and air fryer, you might ask, I just like the texture of a nice crisp top. I guess it reminds me a little bit of, what would you say, like a banana bread sort of. No, not banana bread. Just gives me a nice little crisp top, so it's like I've just baked a pastry or something. You know, at this point, I'm just gaslighting myself into thinking I am having a pastry of some sort, but it doesn't jeopardize anything I'm doing. It's just simply just for the texture of the top and gives it a nice little crisp. So with this one, we have 140 of cream of rice. That is the highest amount of cream of rice I've had throughout this whole process of everything and prep. So that is gonna go down very well. So 140 cream of rice, 30 WPI, 100 banana, 20 honey, 5 dark chocolate, and 100 blueberry. Can't wait for this. As you know, as I've mentioned in previous videos, always very satisfied with cream of rice being in the meal plan, and it's always a meal that is just always satisfying to me. So to have 140 grams of it along with the rest is going to be very, very, very enjoyable, and I cannot wait. So I will take my time with this one. I probably will, because it is a decent amount of volume with the amount of water I did put in it. Be enjoyable. I'll eat this nice and slow and go train, and then I'll get back here for post-workout. All finished up at the gym now. That was a pretty good session, I must say. But now we have post and meal 2 in the one dish. So we've got the big bowl here, big salad bowl because it won't fit in a normal bowl. And then these bad boys, which is what I'm looking extremely forward to. But I will run through what is in post first and then what is in meal 2. So post, we have 150 chicken breast, 160 rice, 100 pineapple, 50 dates, 120 crumpet, and 40 jam. So that's post. Meal 2 that I add to post is 150 breast again, 140 rice, 50 kimchi, 40 avo, 100 pineapple, 50 dates. A lot of volume, yes indeed, but I have also allowed myself enough steps to get after this so it all digests nice and well, so it's not sitting on me like concrete overnight, especially before bed, because that can obviously play a part in tomorrow's weight. So we're eating this nice and early. It is only 3:30, so I usually tend to, when I have a higher day, I don't space out my meals as much as if I do have a lower day. I don't necessarily need to. Therefore, I've got these 2 meals in one, and it's 3:30, so we're eating at a reasonable time. And I've got one more meal after this, but that's only yogurt, so it's not as much volume as this meal. But I am looking extremely forward to this, as I've said, every meal, especially these bad boys. So I can't tell you the last time I had crumpets with jam. So it's going to satisfy the taste buds very much so. And I mean, yeah, I'm looking very forward to it, as you can tell. But yeah, I'm going to eat this, watch a bit of YouTube, then I'll get the remainder of my steps. I think I allowed myself 3,000 more steps, so that should be enough to nicely digest this meal. And yeah, like I said, everything will be nice and digested by the time I head to bed. So yeah, it's been good. We're feeling good. Haven't heard back from Taylor yet. It's obviously early morning over there in the UK, so I'll probably hear back either tonight or tomorrow morning as to if this refeed, high day, whatever you want to call it, continues, or if we go straight back into the digging of things. But if I hear anything before the last meal, which I might not, because I do plan on having all my meals before 7, then I shall let you know what the update is. But let's rip into this. Unfortunately, this will be the last meal of the day, and that being 200 of Greek yogurt, 30 Rule 1, 5 almond butter, 100 raspberries, 100 blueberries, and 100 banana. This one I try and save to at least the end of the day. Sweet after the savory meal I had just before this. Again, I do thoroughly enjoy this one. It is just a nice big bowl. I do put a little bit of water in it, and of course I freeze it. I freeze it just for texture, and it does take me a little bit longer to get through as well. So I'm not absolutely hammering through this one. I can just sit back and slowly enjoy it. But on that topic, I will sit here and enjoy it. I've already edited all the way up to now for the video, so hopefully I can post that tonight. I've eaten this a little bit earlier. It's about 6 o'clock now. I did say 7, but by the time I get through this, it will probably be 7 o'clock with how sort of rock hard it is. But that's how we like it. We like that consistency. But yeah, I mean, 3 weeks out, it just, for me, it hasn't really sunk in yet that I am 3 weeks out. I still feel like that's a long time for me for some reason, when really it's just around the corner. But you know, I mean, these weeks, they're going pretty quick, so I still need to do my registration, which I probably will do maybe next weekend, or during the week. But I think maybe at the 2 week out mark, that's when I'll start going, okay, now we're getting close. It's usually a week away from peak week. I think that's when it starts sinking in for me a little bit more. And, you know, visually what we're seeing now, we're pretty much there. You know, we're very close. So this is the time, you know, we sort of enjoy things, and you know, we play around with the food, of course, like we have been doing. You know, for example, this week, the 7-day depletion into the high day. So it'll be exciting to obviously see how the body responds after the high day and all the carbs that has been consumed today. But yeah, you know, I'm very excited for all this. I'm really excited to compete, but I also am very excited for it to be over and to just have that balance back again. You know, it's not so much necessarily going out and eating burgers and pizzas, which that is of course very fun and enjoyable, but it's more so just for me and Bridie to actually feel like a couple, you know. Not that we don't, but it's very distant at the moment, and you know, it's of course needed at this point in time. You know, we're not in any bad way whatsoever, but we're very much people that want our own space, and especially at this point in time, our own space is very important, you know. So nothing is ever taken personal between me and her. We both get it. We're both doing this together. And I think that's just what makes it so much better. You know, we still love and adore each other and have that full support for one another. And I think that's what makes this process so much more enjoyable. But yeah, on that note, I think I might finish editing the rest of this so I can post it, considering I have been pretty slack with the uploads. So I think an upload tonight will be very ideal, and can pay it back to you in some way. But I hope you enjoyed this little full day of eating. I know it's not too exciting for some people, but sometimes it does strike some people's interest into, you know, what I eat on a high day, and you know, especially being 3 weeks out from competition. But if there's anything that you guys might like to see a little bit more of, or even just see in general, throw a comment down below, or if you have me on socials, chuck a message. And yeah, I mean, 3 more weeks, I'm sure we can spice things up with the videos a little bit more. You know, even I could even do another training session for whoever wants to see another training session. I'll just have to persevere with the copywriting and all that, or just chuck some music over and maybe do a voiceover, but I can figure it out. Or, you know, if you like the full day of eating, I can do more of that. You know, I'm very open with whatever anyone recommends. But thank you all again for watching. I appreciate all the support. Again, apologies for the inconsistency with these videos, but I will catch you all in the next one, and that should be at the 2 week out mark. So I'm going to make sure I do post for these next 3 weeks, because we'll have 2 weeks, then we'll have peak week, which will be pretty good to film, and then the show will be on a Sunday, so I'll film on the Saturday. So when I get my tan and get the check-ins done and weight and stuff, and sort of what we do as a protocol for the night before. And then obviously I'll film comp day as well as a separate video. But thank you all for watching, and I appreciate every single one of you.